Coolio. Oh wait, that was last week. Well, I didn't do anything for last week anyway, so...
Finding you like everything, don't get single. Finding you like everybody wants to what you do. So now that's alright. Shake green and to protest. It's the something.
Hello and welcome to KamenRider Blackman. I didn't do anything for last week, so let's talk about new recruits really quickly. It was a silly but formal introduction to our Black and Green Ranger, Javi and Izzy. What are some things about the episode that I didn't like? I want to start off with the first one, which is the newest villain, Boom Tower. First off, he's a robot, because, yeah, this guy looks like a robot. I feel like it would have been a bit more interesting if Boom Tower was a Sporex beast, because after a Sporex is defeated from a Megazord battle, it apparently could grow to be stronger. So if Boom Tower was the result from a previous fight and came back much stronger, considering his figure, that would have been something good. But instead, Boom Tower is a robot. Also, Void Knight can apparently create robots. I don't know why I brought that up. I don't mind it, because he's been searching for Sporex all these years. I assume somewhere down the line he does have knowledge for, I guess, robotics. But anywho, what else about the episode which I didn't think was... Well, it's not that I thought the episode was terrible. There were just so many things that were up in the air that was never explained. Starting off with how Black and Green got their powers. Apparently, the Dino Spike and the Tiger Claw keys were in this orb called the Nephron Orb, which is never explained at all with how the keys got inside. So, yeah, I would like a little bit of an explanation there. Also, Javi and Izzy are, for one, step siblings, and they're related to the park ranger, who for some reason in the episode decided to face the monsters head on himself. Why exactly? For one, he's a park ranger, and they were at the museum, so he's, one, working out of his jurisdiction, and two, not doing his job at all, because something like that is a matter for the police and not, someone that should be saying, don't litter and hey, no screwing around there or whatever. So, yeah. Also, another thing that also comes to mind is, why did Javi decide to break the orb? It's like, I understand why. It's so that the villains wouldn't get their hands on it. But when you think about it a little bit, he all of a sudden decided to break it, as if it seemed, just doing that sounded like if I can't have it, no one can. So boom. But other than that, let's actually talk about the new recruits, Black and Green. I quite like their first fight because it was pretty dynamic. And I actually think I like it a lot more than the first fight with Amelia and Ollie in the first episode. And it helps the fact that they seemed really excited about being Power Rangers. So they just jumped into it immediately. Like, friggin' Javi was dual wielding swords. And Izzy, for one, before this... Okay, let me keep going. For one, Izzy decided to not use her sword at first and instead decided to fight with like a throwing spear. And of course, the moment that we were all speculating on, the skirt.
Right? Hold that thought. Skirts aren't really my thing. Hey!
Dynamic, ain't it? But even from the characters alone, Javi shows himself as courageous and honestly not reckless because he got the orb out of the bad guy's hands and just ran away with it, trying to keep it safe, which was. But here's how it's not reckless. He recognized the danger. He saw his dad hurt. He saw what he was trying to do. And so he decided to step in and help how he could. And he did. That's not reckless. But all things considered, quite actually bold. He saw what was happening. He thought about what he was doing. And just went in. Hell, it even helps the fact more that he just took the orb and went to a certain location just to wait it out, hoping that the monsters would eventually, stop looking for it, and so that later on, return it to the museum. So, yeah. And for Izzy, she just comes off as quite sporty, all things considered. Just wait until we get to this most recent episode, because my opinion on her is currently up for debate. Though I will say this, actually no, that's something I'll save more toward the end. I have a question about what they do in the cockpits, which I'll save more towards the end. So let's just talk about today's recent episode, Winning Attitude, where they actually had a special needs Olympic on the episode as sort of as an awareness and an appreciation towards people with special needs. And she is Javi and Izzy's, and she's Javi's and Izzy's cousin, and is Izzy's trainer for this big track meet coming up. And so here's the thing. I gotta be completely honest right now. I was completely hesitant about this episode, mainly by the description and from what I've seen. I was afraid it was going to be an episode where not that here's my thing. I was nervous about it being an episode where one of the main characters was going to come off a bit, actually not a bit, as a bit cold, especially towards a person with special needs. And it went there because Izzy's cousin, whose name I forgot for the life of me, sorry, while also coaching Izzy, also has a friend who broke her leg a little while ago and has been helping her with stuff like grocery shopping. Izzy didn't know that and kind of lashes out at her for not being able to help with, basically not being there for her for training, and basically says, I don't need your help, I got this on my own, and just so focused on winning. Yeah. That's what my issue was. For a show like Power Rangers, that's one of its highlights is its diversity. It's not the best move to show one of your protagonists being a jackass towards a special needs person and whose focus is only on winning. That's not a good thing. Aside from that, the episode also showed itself to have very quick pacing to go from one thing to the other, so there was like no slow moments. Like, we didn't see Izzy wondering where her cousin was. They just jumped to, okay, here comes the cousin, she's apparently late, so Izzy's now a little upset. That happened a bit too quickly, along with other things. And so, yeah. Combine that with the fact with everything was just going. Okay, along with Izzy being a bit iffy for me right now, here's the positive that the episode tries to throw in instead. Since it is Power Rangers, so people gotta be nice to each other. There is this one girl who's actually a rival for Izzy, and they were both saying, basically both just being rude to each other. When that girl breaks her leg, Izzy, well, not breaks her leg, but trips and hurts her leg. Izzy remembers something that her cousin said about how it's better to help people. Thinks for a moment about continuing on or helping her, then decides to go and help her. And then that resolves their tiff with each other. Thank you, Power Rangers. Thank you for showing me an episode where it's fine to be rude to disabled people, which it isn't, but hey, the moral of the day, girls cannot be bitches to each other. Pretty much. Other than that, the episode also introduces Izzy's Zord, the Tiger Claw Zord, which, when looking at it now, makes a bit more sense for Izzy because she's an athlete, and that the Tiger Claw Zord has this lance on this side, and last week we saw her spear throwing, so nice there. The name for it too, also fine. Dino Charge Megazord Claw Formation. Okay. But now, here's something with the cockpits that I wanted to get to. Because this started back in Dino Charge, and they've continued to have it going forward. Or at least they did do it in Ninja Steel. For some reason, which also wasn't explained in Dino Charge, like, when they use a Megazord, when they find a Megazord, and it's 3 out of 5 Zords being used, all 5 will actually pilot the Megazord together. Like in KamenRider, they gave an explanation to it, but in Dino Charge, I don't think they really gave an explanation to it. And in KamenRider, it was pretty simple. With all 5 members inside the cockpit, KamenRider could become a lot more stronger, and blah blah blah, the shield can become a sword. Dino Charge, they didn't even bother to say that. They just, okay, black and green are coming in, so now shield can become a sword. Like, that acknowledgement did not go too far or at all. In Ninja Steel, they did that because Dino Charge did it. But in Ryu Soldier, they barely or not at all did that. Or at least, actually, they kind of did, but that was literally more towards the end. And it was in their ultimate combination, not in the first few ones, like Kishidu O Tigerlands, where it's just 4 people and not 5 people. I don't know why they continue to do that. Maybe to do that would be to draw out more power, but they could at least say something. Also, that's just me. I just think that when it's like literally in, like, if it's like literally a 3 Zord combination, only 3 people should be piloting the mech. Because it literally makes sense. Like, their Zords are being used, so they fight the monster today. And I feel, so for this episode, when they're using claw formation, instead of all 5, it should have first started off with red, blue, and pink, and green eventually comes in the cockpit later. Black, sadly, would sit on the sideline for the episode until his Zord comes in. Just because, I don't know, to me it makes sense. Another thing about the episode is that Void Knight gets another Sporex, which I actually don't mind. I'm totally fine with Void Knight getting another Sporex because it can show at the end of the day either the Rangers get another one or Void Knight gets another one. So even if he loses, he still wins, or at least gets what he wants. And so, yeah, it's words. I got my sentence now. It's showing that even when the villains lose, they still win on occasion, which I don't mind at all, and I quite like it, because that could build up to some interesting things. Either Void Knight would get the more Sporex, or the Rangers would get more Sporex, And whoever has the most, we'll see where the dominoes lie there. But overall, for today's episode, definitely wasn't feeling it. And the dialogue, pacing, and even, if I may say so, the first fight seemed a bit all over the place. The only one who I think had a good fight in that manner was Javi. He comes off as very talented, mainly due to the stock footage, because Bamba was a straight up legit swordsman. But in terms of his mannerism with the stock footage, he came off like he totally knew what he was doing and was pretty much having a blast with it. To which, sweet. Also, please do not make Javi the butt monkey of the team, because when you have that with the stock footage, you're thinking, what the full hell? Because, yeah, Bamba was stoic, but like I said, Javi is at least good enough fighter to show that he knows what he's doing. So yeah, thoughts. This episode was not good, sadly, in my opinion. Especially since you're trying to show appreciation for specially challenged people. This was not the best way to do it. And so, with that, and I'm just hoping that two things. One, hoping that next episode is a lot better than this. And two, that I don't end up I hope I don't end up disliking Izzy as a character, because just this was not a good way to build up your characters. Like, you're showing her as focused on winning, but also comes off as a bit of a kind of rude too. But with that said, what did you guys think of? Okay. What did you guys think of today's episode? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Plenty of people were actually quite excited for this episode, just for the acknowledgement of disabled people. I wonder what they'll be saying now. But with that said, thank you guys for watching. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, share this I can't talk now. Share this video. See you guys later.